Gasp! Make ready!
Where is your courage?
Over there in camp!
Fireforged Empires is the next big mod for Total War Attila, and it overhauls the game to feel like a new title fresh out of the franchise itself. This is a mod that transforms the scope of the late Roman Empire and brings it to an historically accurate setting, with reborn scripts, to having barbarian factions that now migrate within your empire, to having spawned armies of hordes where factions will inevitably settle, forcing you as the Western Roman Empire or the Eastern Roman Empire to recruit these barbaric Germanic tribesmen into your ranks. Look, this is a whole package containing hundreds of new factions, thousands of new units, all redone and remade to reflect the time period. There is so much more to discuss in this exciting mod, which is releasing very soon. It will be on the Steam Workshop on December 23rd, so maybe around 15 days or so right now. We're that close, so without further ado, let's begin. Fireforged Empires has been made by a passionate team of modders and historians, and they are the developers of the Judix Red mod. This mod requires no DLC and honestly focuses on periods of the late Roman Empire that I've never explored before. So let me say this. This mod is set in 367 AD, many years behind the events of 395 AD. Consider this, the prequel of Attila's time setting. It is a time of civil war, of epic conflicts, and crazy stories to be played out. It is the rise of Christianity usurping the old pagan order. There are many historical events that also allow you to play as some new faction, that is, the Britannic or Gallic-Roman Empire, a faction that's never been heard of. But let me give you some context from what I understood. Magnus Maximus is perhaps another underrated and yet a fascinating character in Roman history. He, having usurped Emperor Gratian, and soon took his army to build a new empire in Spain, Gaul and Britain. He was the Augustus of the West, but things would conspire that would eventuate into his assassination. But for the time being, Roman Britain was under the rule of a new emperor. When he ruled Britain, he transferred most of the Roman army from its shores, and it shows that Roman Britain, as you can see within a series of these clips here, Roman Britain was becoming weak. By the time of 395 AD, by the time of even 400 AD, the Roman garrison within Britain was very volatile. There were rebellions. Roman Britain was not a place or province that the Romans could basically settle. There were always usurpers. There were always generals that were trying to take Britain as their own. In fact, you could say that Britain was the launch pad of Emperor Constantine. In fact, you could even have, there was a Roman emperor, or Roman general at least, who built an entire navy and ruled Britain for a time before he too was assassinated. You see the theme here? Britain was more of a curse when it came to ruling the Roman Empire, more or less. But Magnus Maximus also campaigned against the Picts. He also campaigned against many of the Britannic tribes that existed within that time. So he left Britain quite defenseless because he said, okay, all the Welsh overlords, they can rule pretty much. But now, instead, just imagine that you could rewrite history on this scale. How would you rewrite Magnus' story? There's more to the story, and the events of late Roman history are very complicated and very difficult. But at the same time, it is so fascinating to see the downfall of the Roman Empire. And there's a reason why Roman Britain became so weak, that it was because of people like him. But you can rewrite the history. And there's so much more you can do when you play the Britannic Roman Empire. And of course, most of the factions within this mod have been remade with new scripted events, with new written descriptions, alright? And there's so much more within this mod. So let's go to the Western Roman Empire, where it's a really crazy campaign. If you play this on hard level, if you play this on hardcore legendary, I can tell you one thing. I would love to see Legend of Total War play this, because this is a notorious campaign that is so difficult and it feels like, how do I save Western Rome from eventual destruction? That's how big the campaign is. So let's go. And if we go to the Western Roman Empire campaign, it's a time of brutal chaos, migration within to the empire, and it adds a lot of historically accurate scripted events. And plus, half of these events aren't even scripted. So you can have the ferocious Franks to the north that try and invade your settlements, the fearsome Burgundians wanting to enter into the territories of Rome, the Borgidae, Moravian bands of rebel soldiers sacking the empire, and a new subsection of Hunnic factions that have yet to appear on the map. One of the suggestions that I would make to the modders is that they add a source of corruption. A source of corruption which basically says that if these barbarian tribes are basically sacking Rome, then you have a desertion of Roman officials or desertion of Roman soldiers. The more you lose, the more you are unable to guarantee the stability of the empire, there will be more Romans migrating towards these Germanic tribesmen. And there will be less people to basically fill out taxes. There will be people that wouldn't be bothered because there isn't an empire that is interested in saving its own people. And when that happens, the people become apathetic. They become disinterested. So I want to see more mechanics like that within the campaign. And I can tell you one thing, when I played the Western Roman Empire, it was difficult. I was getting attacked by all sides. The goal of the setting for the Western Roman Empire in this time is to showcase, of course, obviously how the Huns began their invasion into Eastern Europe. But it also showcases how these Germanic tribes literally just opened the door, barged in, and basically forced to integrate themselves within the Roman Empire. And this is such an historically accurate but also interesting time period to understand and study, because when the Huns invade, you flee for safety. And then we go to the events of 395 AD, most of these Germanic tribes will get integrated within the Roman Empire. And not once did any Germanic tribe leave me or my empire alone. There was no peace. And the AI has a certain habit of wanting to unleash Armageddon every time it raises a settlement. This is something that I would like to see toned down, to be honest with you, but I wholeheartedly recommend you play a long-term campaign of both the Eastern and Western Empires to get a crux of many historical events that will no doubt appear on your campaign map. You get objectives, you get scripted events, you get a whole bunch of new events, and it is so fantastic. Like Fireforged Empires, no doubt that it's like a DI version that, and no doubt it feels like a new mod for Attila, but more accurate. It's like Age of Justinian, Age of Belisarius. It's that great. It's a great big overhaul mod. It would be like Invasion Barbarorum for Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion. That's what I would compare it to. It's that big, and we have to be grateful for the fact that we have Total War modders that are devoting their time to make these fantastic, brilliant mods. So, let's now go to the Eastern Roman Empire, and why you should definitely try that campaign, because it is absolutely amazing. Now play as the Eastern Roman Empire, and you have the Eastern Romans marching into the lands of the Visigoths, where you will face a brutal foe. And I fought in what I believed, I basically recreated the Battle of Adrianople, and my army was beset by the hordes of Visigoths charging at us. There were so many times when the cavalry had to be brought in battle just to get rid of this annoying army. Here's the most accurate thing. The Romans won the Battle of Adrianople under Emperor Valens. I managed to win that battle, but at the cost of too many men. Historically, Emperor Valens perished in that battle, yet at the same time in the campaign, I let Valens become too cocky, and he had to realize that he had to withdraw his army, which had suffered too many casualties. As a result, he puts his general in charge, while he basically tries to go back. And here's the other thing. The Visigoths attacked with vengeance as we had defeated their king in battle, and so therefore Valens perished. So this is a very weird paradox, and that was alternate history. And I haven't played enough yet of the Eastern Roman Empire, but I can assure you one thing. There was a lot of scripted events for the Eastern Romans. There is a lot of, let's say, enemies that are raiding the Eastern Roman Empire borders, and yet again the AI has a Civ 5 Gandhi problem where they basically nuke the whole thing, and I would like to see that, paced down, shortened, so we don't have settlements being raised all the time. But I would really like to see more changes to that. I'll say this: every part of the campaign map, every event, one criticism I would say is I do think that the battles are really good. I like the urgent pace tension on the horizon. There's tons of beautiful and extraordinary units. Many of these units are flying javelins, machines, shield walls, all of them. I do wish that this was at a slow pace. Also, so that you see more of these brilliant formations. The last piece is great. Sometimes it just it's going too fast. I don't want mushrooms, I want more formation stuff. And of course, cavalry is key. Bows, spears, they charge into them, and you got to be careful. My only suggestion would be as balance so somewhat of and they include historically it's a period, native names, and native means the Sassanid Persians called them Germanics. One criticism though is that the Sassanids have less regulations to see the Zervan, the Mongols, the Sassanids have more system of income, and is invading barbarian tribes. You gotta be careful, but you know what? You should be prepared to save Rome, or take Rome's enemies and become the new empire of a new history. So that's it. Fireforged Empires is releasing on the 23rd, so we're not that far off, and I am posting it here right now. So I want to have a discussion with you guys. What do you think of this mod? Do you want more mods like this come into Attila? Do you want to see more time periods covered like this? Because Attila's time frame is very underrated. Attila is a very underrated Total War game, and I do feel that this is fantastic. Oh, and also if you want to know what mod I'm using renovated Roman red cities, which just basically make most of the cities in Attila to look and reflect more red Roman from Rome too. And it really is needed if you want it. And also the natural water mod, which is completely recommended. You will need to play campaign with this. So it's a fantastic mod. I 100% recommend it. It's coming out soon, and let's see what happens. So don't forget to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.